We've got our race winning team for today's 19th annual Crown Royal presents the Curtis Shaver 400 at the Brickyard, powered by Big Machine Records. And our race winner is Jimmie Johnson. He drove the number 48 Lowe's Cobalt Tool Chevrolet to victory lane for the 4th time here at Indianapolis Motor Speedway. He joins 5 other drivers, having won here 4 times or more. The likes of Jeff Gordon, Al Unser, A.J. Foyt, Rick Mears, and Michael Schumacher. Only Jeff Gordon has won as many Brickyard races here as Jimmie. And this is just a big win here for Jimmie. His 58th NASCAR Sprint Cup Series victory. And his 3rd of this year. Big deal there when it comes to chase bonus points. And Jimmie, congratulations. Joined up there by team owner Rick Hendrick, crew chief Jack Knaus, and his lovely daughter, Genevieve.
Sorry.
This might be one of the most fun press conferences. But Jimmie, congratulations. Just talk about, I know yesterday, I believe it was yesterday morning, you were talking about how cool it would be to win a 4th title here, and just talk about that. You were so dominant here today.
You want me to be serious right now? Let's see if she'll go along. That was my fault. All right. 4th, somewhere in there, you're saying?
4th, just the significance. You talked about how much that would mean for you.
Yeah, it's a huge moment, and I really enjoyed the lap around in the race car. Fans were in the stands going nuts and cheering the lap in the Camaro around the racetrack with the crew guys and my family and everybody. Those moments really help soak it in. You know, it's usually so busy after a race win, but what happens here and how you can actually soak in the moment and look around and realize that you're at the Brickyard and you've won is really special. And this 4th, I'm able to join racing legends, my heroes, people I looked up to my entire life. So to join them is a huge honor, and I know how much it means to Rick, and thankful for all of his support and everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, and thankful to Chad and my guys. I knew 2nd or 3rd lap yesterday on the track that we're going to have an awfully good chance of winning, and that confidence that I had helped us through practice yesterday. There were a couple moments where maybe an adjustment didn't work, we lost a little pace, but I had a feeling, and I just knew we were going to be fine, and we qualified well, and then went out there today and put it on. So solid performance.
Thank you, Jimmie. Jack Knaus, just what a dominant race car out there today. The other guys that were in here, Kyle and Greg Bethel, said that there was just nothing they could do to catch the 48. And so just talk about maybe how that all came about.
You know, honestly, this is the car that we raced in Dover, and ran really well there. So it was brand new in Dover, and we raced it there, and we thought that we would bring it here, hoping that we would get a similar result, and fortunately enough, we did. The guys at Hendrick Motorsports really took a lot of effort and time and to pay attention to the details in this race car. And as we know in this industry, details are what makes the difference. And everybody at Hendrick Motorsports, especially the 4888 shop, really honed in on the 2 cars that we brought here. I think we saw that with the performance from the 88 car. They ran exceptionally well all weekend in practice. They didn't qualify as well as what they wanted to, but they definitely raced very well. And with the 48 for sure. So it was a lot of fun. It was a good weekend. Like Jimmie said, yesterday was with a compressed schedule that we've got here at Indianapolis with your 2 practice sessions on Friday, or on Saturday rather, and qualifying on Saturday. If you don't come off the truck ready to go and fast, you're going to be behind the 8 ball, and it's difficult to get back on top of that mountain. And Jimmie had some rest, and the team had some rest, and we were ready to go and ready to attack, and it went really well. So I couldn't be prouder of what we were able to accomplish today.
Thank you, Chad and Rick. Certainly a big day for your organization. Jimmie's win here today, and also Dale Earnhardt Jr. takes over the points lead. So congratulations. But talk about the significance of Jimmie's 4th win, and just what that means at such a historic racetrack.
You know, every time you come here, you know how important this place is, and everybody wants to win here because it's just the unique history of this place and how many legends and racing had raced here. And so everybody puts a lot of effort into it, and everybody wants to win. But Jimmie, I talked to both of them last night, and Jimmie said it's the best car he'd ever had here, and I've seen him put on quite a show here before. But to have them all run this good today, Casey got a bad stretch there, but he drove back to, I think, 12th. To see them all finish that well, and then Dale to take over the points. But I think the equipment is so equal today, but you got to look at the talent Jimmie has and the talent Chad has and pit crew and everything else. Feedback, the communications. I've never seen a guy can drive a car as out of control and make it look in control as Jimmie can. So, and these two are phenomenal together, and I'm just glad I don't have to race against them.
We'll take questions now. So Ed, and we'll go Chris Jenkins next, and then Nate. Go ahead, Ed, Chris, and Nate.
Ed Hinton, ESPN.com. You guys talked about a lot of confidence yesterday, this morning on drivers and crew. This is for Jimmie and Chad. Drivers and crew chiefs always like to say, well, you never know till you cross the finish line, take the checkered flag, etc. But as Kerry was saying, we rarely heard a second, third place finisher express such hopelessness during the race as Kyle and Greg did. Kyle said Jimmie Johnson wasn't just in his own zip code, he was in his own country today. Biffle said it really was not an advantage to be in front of him because he was going to pass you anyway. So I guess what I'm asking you guys is, did you feel as sure as they felt sure that they were going to lose?
Well, the way I saw it, the 11 had great pace. At the start of the race, I couldn't get up there and challenge him. At the start of the race, I don't know what happened to him. I didn't see him the rest of the day. The two had great pace, even on older tires, because of the sequence deal. He held me off and Jeff off for a long time. I feel like I had pace on Jeff at the start of a run, but at the end of a run, he'd kind of creep back up to us. So, I didn't see the 18 all day or the 6. I just knew that the 2, the 48, and the 24 were gone, and then there was another group. So at the end, I think our strength looked more than it was because the 24 and the 2 weren't around. I don't have the 24 track position wise, but I think if either one of those would have been up there with us and had track position at the end, we would have had one heck of a race on our hands.
And also, as far as this season, so now if the chase started tomorrow, you're the top seeds again. Got all the momentum in the world. Every time you've won this race, you've gone on to win a championship. Do you guys feel as back on top of this game in Cup as you sure appear right now?
I feel that from a performance standpoint, we're as strong as we've ever been. We've had issues late in a race that's cost us track position for a variety of reasons, and that's the part that we need to make sure is buttoned up before the chase starts and carry that through the chase. But from a performance standpoint, it's an amazing race cars. And we made a lot of progress through the off season and then getting started this year. And I feel really good about the chase. I'm ready for it to start.
Chad, did you comment on the second part?
Yeah, I think that, excuse me, I feel as though that, the product we're bringing to the racetrack right now is very competitive week in and week out. And once again, it's in the details. Jimmie does a fantastic job of driving the race cars. But he can't do it without good pit stops and a good race car. And Jimmie communicating what it is that he needs in the race car, how comfortable he is in the car, much like what he did yesterday. He was able to say, look, the car's good. We may be a half a tenth off pace, but the car's good. And him being able, well, I may stretch the truth once in a while, but it's being able to understand where we're at and that level of communication that we've got right now is really good. And remember, he's awesome. There's no doubt about it. He's the best race car driver that we've got in the sport right now. But if we have poor pit stops, you can't get it done. If we have poor race cars, you can't get it done. And fortunately enough, everybody we've got at Hendrick Motorsports and everybody we've got in the 4888 shop are doing their jobs, and we're able to go out there and put up some good numbers.
Chris, and then we'll go to Nate, and then Bob.
Yeah, Chris Jenkins, Associated Press. Jimmie, I heard you tell a story earlier about how you kind of sat watching the Indy 500 with your dad and your grandfather. Can you kind of paint that picture for us? So, I mean, were you thinking it'd be cool to come here as a fan one day at that point, and can you process what it's like to be sitting where you are right now?
Yeah, I wanted to come to the race. I remember when I was in El Cajon, I remember being hot at home. I don't know if we had air conditioning, I'm sure we did, but wasn't on. I remember sitting on the
Gary
couch.
was tight. I wanted to spend any money.
We didn't have any. It was all went into our dirt bikes. I remember it's the only race I would sit and watch in its entirety. And there are a lot of racing moments that I remember watching, from Sullivan's spin and win to Sneva crashing into Sneva. Before the racing even started, I was trying to warm up the tires and spawning at the inside wall, and a lot of things like that. I also remember different points where I'd take the couch and turn it at the wall and build a cushion. The cushion, like a little tunnel or little thing to sit in, pretend I was a race car driver and watch the race.
Was that last year?
Yeah, it was last year. I guess it'd be 2001 before it came in a cup. So I do have those memories. I was young and just a huge fan of racing. And in my household, my dad's dad was a big fan of A.J. Foyt and of racing, and he's the one who owned the motorcycle shop and where my dad worked and where I got my start from, riding dirt bikes. And I just grew up in a family full of race fans. I'm the first racer of the group, and it's amazing that just from being a fan, chasing autographs and standing on the fence, holding on, looking in, now I'm on the inside, doing what I am on the track. It's been a wild experience.
Let's go with Nate, Bob Pockris, and David Caravello.
Nate Ryan, USA Today. This is for Jimmie, but if Chad will answer as well, that's fine. Jimmie, I heard you say on ESPN about how the communication between you and Junior and Chad and Stevie is as good as it's ever been in the shop. Given that they take the points lead today, you win this race, and the last 3 times you've won it, you won the title. I mean, was today sort of a manifestation of that teamwork and sort of stamping the 48 and the 88 as maybe co-favorites for the title? It seems like the championship right now, it's looking like it's going to come through your building.
Yeah, I kind of look further back and think around Darlington with the 200 to win for our shop. I mean, the 88 and the 48 have been so close to a win, and that was the first win for us. And then things started rolling from there. Clearly, Junior's win was huge and put that stamp, that seal of approval on what they're doing in their minds. And Stevie and Junior have really brought a lot to the table. I mean, I have to say, from Pocono to now, the stuff that Junior's liked in the car and what he's felt has opened up doors for us to pursue and a road for us to go down where we've made our stuff better. So there's a lot of confidence in our shop with both teams, and the communication is as good as it's ever been. And I'm happy to see Steve as confident as he is, and Junior both, because we can really lean on them and pull from them, and it's a two-way street. And that's something that's new this year, and I'm proud of both of them for where they're at and where our whole team is.
Let's go Bob Pockris, David Caravello, Dave Coleman.
Bob Cocker, Sporting News. Jimmie, did the bomb in the morning wake you up? And do you sleep any better when you know you have as good a car as you do, or do you sleep worse?
That thing was loud this morning, just so you know.
I was here, I heard it.
I thought the motorhome next to me blew up. Looking for a fire extinguisher to put out a fire. I guess getting up earlier than I wanted to let me prepare for the day and get ready, but I understand the canon and the history, and it's great history for the 500, and I guess it's been here for the 400. So I'm willing to...
Usually it's 7, though.
Is it really? I think it's typically at 7.
I don't know why it was at 6.
But the sound check for the stage that followed was unacceptable. So that was the part I was most frustrated with.
You expressed that this morning.
Yes, I did.
But normally, do you sleep better when you know you have a good car, or worse when you know you have a good car? Does it not matter?
On big races, I usually have a tough time sleeping. Last night, no issues. So I think that the way yesterday went, how good I felt about the car, it did let me get a great night's sleep.
Let's go to David Caravello, Dave Coleman, Dick, come right here.
David Carroll, NASCAR.com. I think you talked yesterday morning about how you became a Rick Mears fan and sort of how that whole process unfolded. But what was the depth of that? Are we talking die-cast, T-shirts, posters on the wall, chasing his autographs? Have you built a relationship with him through your victories?
No, I really didn't. I was more the kid that stood at the fence and watched. And I don't believe I ever watched Rick race live. I think the biggest... Here we go again. You've turned this video upside down. I went to Riverside in 85 or 86 and watched the Cup cars with my dad. Watched Rick run the Winston West car, I think it was. Remember my dad was that guy, that Folgers car, is a car owner for the other cars. So remember that. And then another experience I remember is in Del Mar, they had an IMSA race, and Bobby Rahal was there and wore everybody out. And when I was around the people I knew and looked up to, I was just kind of standing and watch and more in awe. So I did that same thing with Rick, watching him over the years. And my connection really to Rick was, he gave me hope as a driver coming out of the off-road ranks that I could race an Indy car or go to the asphalt race. But then, his brother Roger Mears and Roger Jr. raced the off-road trucks, and I watched them. My dad was working in the sport, so I was around. And then Casey and I were only a few kids in the pits. Casey and I were on our little BMX bikes riding around and hanging out. So I just kind of gravitated towards the Mears gang, and they're all great people. And I spent a little bit of time with Rick over the last few years. He's moved back to North Carolina now, and I probably hear more through Casey about how he's doing than really see him. I don't have a chance to see him often, but I do remember watching television, trying to watch him race. I remember his fire out here on the front stretch. Remember a few of his wins. So it's cool to be here on this track doing the same thing.
Go right over here to the right, Dave Coleman, and we'll go to Dick and John right now. John.
Dave Coleman, walking Jimmy Sentinel. During the restart where Keselowski and Brady Smith got kind of tangled up there on the front, were you ever in peril, and how did you get through there?
Yeah, we got through the gears. I had a good run on the two, and I was thinking about putting 3 wide, but both cars, Regan was kind of doing a good job, but pushed down Brad and didn't give me a chance to get in there, which was smart. And then he rallied around the outside of 1, and I thought he was going to clear the 2 car, which he kind of did off in turn 2. I thought, man, the outside's going to work well. But Brad got loose in 2, but they were so close to one another. And Brad did a great job of saving it. His car rotated so fast, I thought he was going to come across in front of me. But before we went into 2, I could see how close they were, and I checked up just a little bit. And I'm glad that I did, because it gave me time to get turned. And I think it was down on the apron, and maybe got a little bit of the grass to avoid the 2 cars that were spinning around. And fortunately, I cleared the 78. He got slowed up. He was slowed up from the contact and all that went on, and I cleared him. But that was the closest moment I had all day.
Go to Dick, and then we'll go to John.
Dick Mifflin, Indianapolis 500 old-timer. Jimmy, you won 58 races, and you had a car in any of those races that dominated. This was the one that you felt that was.
I've had a few, and if memory serves me right, most times we didn't go to victory lane with them. It's just funny how that works out. You have the most dominant car, lead the most laps, and you run 3rd or 4th, whatever it is. I think one of the most dominant cars I had in my career was at the Coke 600, my rookie year, and we led 300 laps of 320 something, right? How many laps in that thing? I slipped in the pits. So that was a tough one to swallow, but that was running through my mind to have such a dominant car. And you go from the racer's mentality of race and win to how do I avoid from messing this up? And that's really how the last part of the race unfolded for me.
We'll go John, and we'll go to John.
Congratulations to the 3 of you. My question is for Jimmy, though. We were watching you on TV when you were kissing the bricks, and your daughter didn't want to do it. What was the problem?
I don't really think she knew what was going on, and the asphalt's pretty hot, so she got her hands down on it, and I think that scared her. But she's a very cautious girl, and she's maybe another few photos she would have warmed up to it, but she wasn't into it.
We thought maybe that she's 3 years old and you and your wife put in, you come meet her.
Yeah, we were joking about that too. We're like, here we are trying to keep her from doing things like that. Chad, I think you mentioned it, Chad, that we're just going against everything we're trying to teach her.
Dario had to share the podium after he won the 500 with a dog.
That's right.
Right on the corner, and then we'll go to Mike, and then Joe back here.
Chad, I saw you write something on the bricks after you guys kissed them. I wondered what you wrote on there, if that's something you'd done before. And also, Rick, if you could kind of talk about what you saw in this guy when he was back in the Busch Series, to give him a chance, and obviously he's probably far exceeded the expectations you had when you signed him.
I just signed them. I just put my autograph on there and put the 48 car in 2012. I know we'll be there for a year. So I just signed them, signed the bricks.
I got a call from her official when Jimmie was about 16, I guess. And her official was he had a racing for Chevrolet, and he said, "We got this guy in the off-road trucks I'd like to see have a shot." And I think I was involved with a late model car, and he came over with a very good car, and he drove it. And then I saw him pop up into I think in the Busch Series, and Jeff Gordon was with me and my son Ricky at Darlington, and we were parked pretty close to him, and he was either on top of the board or second on the board. So we thought we'll go over and ask Jimmie about how to get around this place. Jeff and Ricky did, and I was with them, and Jimmie said, "Well, this is the first time I've ever seen the place," and so we've just had a relationship since he was 16 years old, and I've waited for him and bought him burgers when
You have.
I went to St. Louis when Ricky was racing, and his
We're
alternator
unemployed.
went out on the 5th lap, and I had to wait 4 hours for Jimmie Johnson and buy him food, haul him around the plane. And so the night he asked me what he should do for his future, I said, I think we've got your future figured out, buddy.
Let's go Mike, gentleman here, and a couple in the back. Go ahead.
My dad from frontstretch.com. This is for Jimmie and Rick. And Jimmie, I want an honest answer. With Dale Jr. having the season he's having, taking over the points lead, you've now got, as somebody said earlier, the two probably favorites for winning the championship. Would you honestly rather have the only shot out of your shop and have everything focused on your car, or would you truly want to have the competition be with you?
Yeah, if both cars are in the hunt, it doesn't impact what goes on with the 48 team. I mean, the way, the tools that Rick gives us, the way our shops are set up, if one, none, four, both, I mean, it doesn't matter. So, and it's great that and I've been in that position before with Jeff, and not in the same shop necessarily, but with 5 car with Mark, it's great. What it does internally for our company, it far exceeds any type of competitive spirit that exists. And from a technical standpoint, we all go to the racetrack with the same equipment. It doesn't. No one gets favorites. There isn't any favorites, and we all have the same equipment.
The first time I had to deal with that, I think, was back when Terry and Jeff were battling, and I think Terry won. And because we didn't work together as close back in those days as we do today. And looking back now at years when we ran 1, 2, 3 in the points a couple of years ago, I think as a whole our organization is the best. You can't look at the scoreboard with Jeff this year and say this is one of the best years Jeff's ever had, but he's been in a position to win. I think he's led like the 3rd most laps, something like that, and Casey's coming on strong. I'm really proud of the 48 and 88 where they are right now, but I don't think you can count Casey out. And these guys are sharing so much information, and I'm beyond that nervousness when trying to get the teams together and say, look, what got us here is working together, sharing information. And that I think by having those two cars where they are in the points will give us a better shot. And I don't think a lot of organizations, it tears them down when they have that kind of competition. I think it makes us stronger, but I think we all have bought in, we live by it, we die by it, and we've been there since 1994. And so I think that gives us a better opportunity to win a championship.
Go ahead, sir.
Jeffrey Miller, Yahoo Sports. First, Rick, this is 8 wins for you here at Indianapolis. Have you been here for each of them?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, very good. And then when we come here in May with IndyCar, Ganassi and Penske seem to come to this track with a certain swagger. It seems like you guys have that now. Why do you have that?
I hope we have that same swagger everywhere we go. I mean, that's what we try to do. We don't put any more effort in, you can't put any more effort than we do here. But I'll tell you, when you start believing that you got it figured out, it's when you get your butt handed to you, because, so many times when we've been dominant in a place, something happens at the very end, and that's what I was concerned about today. I think the competition here in the sport is really tough, but we've lived through this. We've seen him dominate Dover and come back, and we're 2 or 3 tenths off. And I think his driving style fits his place. Jeff's always good here. Dale runs good here. Casey runs good here. I think our combinations work real well here. But, again, like these guys said, the 2, the 18, there are a lot of fast cars out there today, and track position's important. But I think we don't look at Indianapolis as let's just put all our effort in Indianapolis, because they all pay the same points. And although, you want to win these special events, but to win a championship, you got to be good everywhere. And I think I heard Chad talking to Jimmie. I'm telling Jimmie he's got to go ring the victory bell at work, and Chad says you got to go test. And he says, so I don't know what I'm going to get to do. And I mean, it's every track's important, but I don't think we do run well here, and we've been able to win 8 of these things. But when we come back next year, it's a brand new ball game.
Time, I think, for a couple more. Go ahead.
John Hanna, Racing Information Systems. Jimmie and Chad, right now, if the chase were to start today, you and Brad and Tony would be tied for the lead. What lessons have you learned from last year's chase to apply to this year's chase?
The chase last year wasn't the strong part of the season for us, and I feel like the product we're taking to the track this year is far superior to what we had then. So I feel like our shortcomings of last year are corrected right now. That's why I want the chase to start immediately, so we don't have time to be caught or lose our magic. It's tough to stay on top consistently week in and week out and for a long stretch of time. So, a 10 race stretch is just long enough to have some magic and watch it leave. And watch Tony and what he did last year and the magic he pulled through. So when I look at it, I feel that we're going to be stronger than we were last year. And then last year's chase, with it being a tie and coming down to a tiebreaker, every single point is going to count, and you need to win races. And we've always known that, but last year was more evident of that than ever.
Go ahead, sir.
Jimmie, talk about today, in summary, what made it happen for you today?
We had a great race car for sure. That's the obvious part, but I think track position was really key in maintaining it. So the strong qualifying effort, and then the car was comfortable on restarts, and I was able to make quick work of guys and get by a lot of cars fast. And then our pit stops. Maybe I mentioned that, but pit road was key to not having issues on pit road.
Go ahead, right here, and then we'll end right here.
Chad, Stephen Smith with Auto Week. When I think of Indianapolis and what translates to a Dover is not the first track that comes to mind. What was it about that car that makes you think it would work here? And I'm reaching to the point now where this car, if it's good at one track, it's pretty much going to be good at all tracks.
You know, honestly, we took the car to the wind tunnel before it went to the race in Dover, Delaware, and it posted some pretty decent numbers. Obviously, there's been a lot of rule changes since we raced in Dover. And we won there, obviously. I think the 24 car had the best car in Dover, but they had some issues, and we were able to pull out the victory. And we just said, you know, that's a good car. The timing's right. We had about a month and a half, 2 months to kind of work on the car and just kind of get it prepped and ready to go. So we worked on it some and cleaned it up. And, you know, the guys at Hendrick Motorsports really do a really good job of paying attention to the details. And that's making sure the bolt lengths are right, making sure that you've got the weight out of the car as best you can, doing everything you can to get the center of gravity low, doing all that kind of stuff. So we said, okay, we're just going to take a little bit of time, put this car to the side for a couple of weeks, and as we have guys that have an opportunity, we're going to kind of focus on it. And, you know, it turned out to be a really good product. It's not head and shoulders better than our other cars, but it's a good car. It's just a good, solid car. And, you know, Jimmie will attest to it. If you've got a car that you can go out there and drive, and drive consistent laps, and fast, consistent laps, and not be out of control, you're going to go faster for the long haul. And that's really what we focused on with this race car.
I have a question.
You guys have been together as a team with Rick Hendrick now for a very long time, longer than most crew chiefs and drivers and team combinations in this sport. What is it that's kept you with Hendrick all this time? Because I know you've had offers to go other places. What sort of offers have you turned down in order to stay at Hendrick Motorsports and stay together?
I'll be honest with you. You know, if you're asking me directly, I know what we've got at Hendrick Motorsports. And I can tell you right now, I can't go anywhere else and beat what we've got at Hendrick Motorsports because I know what everybody else has. We've got the best owner. I mean, he's fantastic, clearly. But we want
to leave the room while he answers that
question. You know, it's we've got the best equipment. I think that we react quicker, faster, better than everybody else. We've got the best drivers, and you know, to kind of bounce back on what we were talking about just a moment ago, the best season that we had, as far as I'm concerned, at Hendrick Motorsports was when we won 16 races out of 24-48 shop a couple of years ago and finished 1-2 in points. And we're working towards that again out of the 48-88 building. We push one another. When we were coupled with Jeff Gordon and Steve Letard, we've won a bunch of races. Right now we're with Steve Letard and Dale Jr., and we're running up front. They're leading points. We've won a couple of races. We're fourth in points, I presume. That you can't have a successful environment unless you have somebody that's pushing each other, and you don't always get that when you go someplace else. So there's no reason to even consider going anywhere else.
Just one fun part to add is there's been bumps in the road, and we're like family, we've been through it all. This man has done more counseling, not only with our situation, but throughout all the 500 plus employees at Hendrick and driver crew chief combinations. He has a degree in people skills or something, psychiatry, and then this automotive group and you know the challenges in business there. He's the glue that keeps HAG together and keeps motorsports together, and we all want to be there and work for him because of who he is.
I think the funniest thing is, honestly, Kerry, we all want to make him happy because he's a joy to work for.
I believe you did that today. Congratulations again to the 48 team, Jimmie, Chad, and Rick. Congratulations.